We are back on Morning Line. It's our final segment with our guest. Holly Ladd is with us. She's a health and wellness coach. Always nice to have her. She's nice. I like talking to her. You learn a lot of stuff. It's good to have you on.
Thank you.
Listen, we've got some calls here waiting through the break. We'll start off with Lily. Hi, Lily.
Hi, how you all doing today?
Good, Lily. What's on your mind?
Okay, I'm trying to find out about alkaline water. Is it good or bad for you? And does it take inflammation out of your body? It does. Is there any other things that I could do to get inflammation out of my body?
What kind of symptoms do you have? Do you just have joint pain, or what, are you swollen?
Joint pain.
Okay, yeah. How old are you?
56.
56, and you have joint pain and some swelling, and alkaline water is something that she's talking about. Is that like distilled water, or is that?
You know what? I don't know exactly what.
Is that something that's treated? Have you bought alkaline water and tried it, Lily?
Yes, I've bought it and tried it.
Okay, well, alkaline water. If she has, I've not heard so much about waters, you know, in terms of joint pain. Water is pretty good as long as it's pure. What would you suggest for her if she's got that joint pain? She's in her 50s.
Yeah. So it's very common, right? A lot of us in our
bunch of people
50s have joint pain.
Yeah.
Again, you know, you have to look at what you're eating, and there's no one magic bullet. Like, so if you're eating a standard processed diet with a lot of sugar, processed refined carbohydrates, not a lot of phytonutrients, you know, a lot of factory farm meats, which are inflammatory, and then you're just drinking alkaline water, that's not going to make a difference. So you really have to look at this holistically. You have to look at everything that you're consuming and do your best. Do your best to get in more vegetables. Do your best to reduce the refined flours that you're eating. Eat brown rice instead of white rice. You know, try to eat organic meat or less meat and more vegetables. Beans are a wonderful source of protein, a wonderful source of fiber.
So eliminate, as you said, some of the acidic things that cause the joint pain. I think the alkaline water that she's describing is something that's really growing in popularity. A lot of people are buying it, and it just has a different pH level that may allow your body, if you drink that, to better deal with some of these inflammatories. So I suppose that can't hurt, but you could take that, but at the same time, then you probably want to just reduce the consumption of the inflammatories.
Exactly. It's like the water isn't going to be your cure-all.
Right.
It may help, but it's not going to be the thing that just, you know, takes care of you.
So the question is, what else does Lily eat? You know, and again, you're always moving around, moderate exercise. I'll tell you what, if I just sit around for a couple days because I'm sick or I've been so busy I couldn't get out and work out, that's when my body aches. Now I may go do some crazy workout that, you know, people are like, what? And I'll feel okay after the fact. You got to use it or it's going to start deteriorating. But she needs to ask herself what she's eating.
And how much are you sleeping?
And how much are you sleeping? Sleeping and diet to limit that. But there's really clear-cut ways sometimes to really address joint pain. I mean,
and so there's another book out by Dr. Susan Bloom that just came out called The Arthritis Solution, which goes into a lot of how to approach arthritis systemically, holistically, and how to treat it without, you know, being on medications all the time.
Yeah, anything you can do to avoid pills. I'm with you 100% on that. Let's go to Bill. Hi, Bill.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good, sir. What's on your mind?
I always enjoy your guests on this particular segment you have.
Thank you.
And if there ever was a crisis in America nowadays, it has to be obesity. People either overweight or extreme obese. And my type of job, I go into a lot of grocery stores, mass merchandising areas and things, and it just seems like every year you just see at least 80% of the people are shopping there are obese nowadays. And if there ever was a crisis in America, I know opioids is a big crisis, but it has to be obesity. And if this country really needs to, I know they are been promoting healthier life, but I think we're getting worse every year, and it's just it's going to get to a point that a health care is not going to be able to afford to treat people. And that's my comment today. It's just, it's unreal how people just let themselves go nowadays.
I'm with you. I mean, obesity is a huge problem, and it's a song we've been singing for quite some time. That's not new. Opioids really in the last few years Yeah, that's a real epidemic. But obesity's been around for years. And it, I don't know, it's just, we're such a rich country, and the fast food culture and the commercials that keep feeding us these giant burgers. And
yeah, I mean, if you look at so the average human needs about 2,000 calories a day to exist, you know, between 1,800 maybe and 2,200, unless you're some elite crazy athlete.
That would be about right for you and I mean.
Yeah, you would take a little bit more and I would take a little bit less.
But around 2,000 or stuff, is, if you stayed at that, you'll probably if you're active, you would maintain your current body stature if you're doing about 2,000 to 2,200 calories a day. With some exercise, as long as you're not sedentary.
But in the food supply, there's over 3,000 calories a day per person.
Okay.
So we have an imbalance of calories in the food supply.
So either you exercise a lot more or you eat less.
Or, you know, yeah, I mean, you have to do one or the other and eat better, make better choices. Now, the obesity crisis is really becoming very interesting because we're finding obese babies, and it's being passed down genetically through their...
Meaning once the moment they're born, they're already obese?
Or, you know, at 6 months, they're sort of obese. At a year, they're obese, and it's a genetic condition, and we're wiping out, they're finding, it's fascinating, you know, the microbiome, we had this bacteria in our gut that controls more than we ever thought it did within our biochemistry. And obesity is one of them. They find that in obese people that are lacking certain bacteria that control digestion, feelings of fullness, so they have an imbalanced microbiome that predisposes them to obesity, and they've actually done some work with certain probiotics, certain strains of bacteria that have helped people lose weight. Now, it's very cutting edge, and we don't have the total answer right now, but there's this whole, you know, it's not just overeating, which is a huge part of it, but it's overeating combined with this genetic sort of bacteria issue that's passed down from mother to child. Wow. That sort of is making it spiral. And actually, the obesity level has sort of plateaued the last few years, and this year it went up again. So yes, we are definitely in a crisis. And Bill, you're preaching to the choir about the healthcare system. Yeah. We, you know, as much as we talk about fixing the healthcare system, we have to get down to how sick we are as a country and how much money we're spending managing chronic disease.
Well, the scary thing, really, the fact is, folks, you can't afford to get sick in this country. You just can't. And you know, if you choose not to take care of yourself, eventually you're going to break down, and you're going to be paying through the nose if you can afford to get the medical care. I mean, if there's no other reason to work out and eat well to stay healthy so that you don't have to go to the dang doctor. Because you can't. You cannot afford to get sick. You can't. And there's so many people, though. Gosh, every time I do a story and I find myself over at Vanderbilt or St. Thomas or any of these hospitals in the emergency room because we're doing some news story, and it is packed. The rooms, when I go visit friends in the hospital, they're full. I'm like, where? It's almost, if you don't go to hospitals, you don't realize how many people are sick. I mean, these are huge facilities downtown here, and they are packed with sick people. And I'm like, golly, yeah, it's sad. It's what it is. Let's go to Keith. Hi, Keith.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, man?
Question. I've been on opiates for a little over 3 years, and I've been unhappy with them for the last couple of years. My question is, I've changed. Last Tuesday, I went to a new pain management doctor, and I was on I think it's oxycodone, and then Cadian, 20 milligrams. And I told him I didn't think that the Cadian was doing anything for me, and if it was, I wasn't really noticing it. Well, he took me off the Cadian, and then I realized that, well, it was helping me. Apparently, it was taking the edge off. I noticed my arthritis came back in my hands, and I was having just severe chronic agony, just in agony.
Oh, boy.
And then I asked him, when he said he's taking me off of it, would I go with withdrawals? And he told me no. And I said, promise me I won't go through withdrawals. And he said, well, you won't. And I realized I was getting sick, and then I put two and two together, and I thought, well, I'm going through withdrawals. My question is, and they're not getting back with me during the phone tag, and they called me yesterday from a private number, and to me that's just unprofessional. I don't answer a private phone call.
I'm with you.
Anyway, the question is, should he have really took me off that Cadian morphine?
All right, well, that's a little outside the realm of what we can answer for you here. The bigger picture is clearly he's going through withdrawal, 3 years on opioids. He's addicted. Okay, you're going to get addicted if you're doing it. And some people have no choice if they have chronic pain, unfortunately, because that's the only thing. We didn't get into this, but I was going to ask you about medical marijuana and the route that is, which is not legal yet in this state, but it is in others. But just alternatives for pain relief.
Yeah.
He's on these, and it's tough. He's been on it for 3 years. He's going through withdrawal. I don't know. There's holistic things you can do. It sounds like arthritis. We touched on it. We've got like a minute. What would you say, just in terms of little things he can do in addition to what he has with his doctor?
Yeah, you know, pain is really a tough one. But one thing that I've read a lot of research on is the role of meditation and positive visualization in stopping the pain cycle, because it really starts in the brain.
Yeah, if you can do that, but some of this stuff is so hard.
It is hard.
And that's the thing. And I understand why someone like he and others need to be on opioids or pain relievers. As he described, this guy here, he sounds like a tough guy, you know, and his hands are excruciating pain. Yeah. That's one of the biggies, folks. But I'll tell you this, if there's alternatives, I've said this more than once. If I've got excruciating pain, if I can, I'm doing anything besides taking opioids, including, whether it's legal here or not, doing medical marijuana. Come get me. Because I'm sorry, opioids are so far bad for you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it just is. Don't tell me opioids aren't worse than marijuana, because they are. Period. That's me.
I love it.
It's really nice to have you on.
It's great to be here.
Will we see you again sometime?
Maybe next time
I'll bring you some eggs and you bring some muffins.
Perfect.
Holly Ladd, thank you for coming on. It's good seeing you. We'll have a contact information for you, for everyone out there, for you, when we come back and we wrap up the show. Thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
Be right back. What number?